This is Money, Motivation, and Mike, and I am your host, Michael Wainwright. In charge of all the controls, the motherboard, audio engineer, Jason Wright. And hello to you, world. This is the show that will change your life. As always, you can contact us at info@mx3.vip. Go to our website, mx3.vip, and also visit our YouTube channel, youtube.com/@mx3podcast. And don't forget to give us the likes, the subscribes, and hit the bell icon to get notified of new content when it comes out, which is every Monday around 9 o'clock in the morning. Today, going to get into some laws of life, some of the things that I have been pondering, some of the things that I've been looking into, researching, studying, etc., etc. And we're going to start off today with a little bit of the life of Murphy's Law. Murphy's Law. The most popular law is also the most negative law. Now, not for sure why we all gravitate to this law, but let's just talk about it for a minute, and then let's figure out how we can get away from it. Murphy's Law is nothing more than anything that can go wrong will go wrong. Now, not for sure why we come up with that formula, but it seems to fit in so many cases. Continuing on with that, and extended that anything that can go wrong will go wrong at the worst possible time. So, Murphy's Law is something that the majority of the people in this world believe when something comes along in their life. Anything that can go wrong will go wrong. It's not a positive thought. Obviously, it's negative. But why are we not thinking about anything that can go right will go right? We go just the opposite with the negative environment, the negative society that we live in. Murphy's Law. Anything that can go wrong will go wrong. Now, what are some examples of like Murphy's Law? If you were to plan a picnic for this coming Saturday, Murphy's Law means that it's going to rain. If you speed up to pass someone on the highway, Murphy's Law will say there's probably a state trooper just around the corner ready to give you a ticket. Most people prefer to Murphy's Law as a combination of bad luck and perception. Frankly, that's really what it is. Unfortunately, we live by Murphy's Law in this world, and Murphy's Law always gets us into some very difficult situations. Murphy's Law, there's nothing as easy as it looks. Everything takes longer than you think. Anything can go wrong, will go wrong. Some of Murphy's laws along the way. Murphy's 12th law in the Murphy's Law of Life, whenever you set out to do something, something else must be done first. Murphy's 13th law says every solution bleeds new problems. So I get this hole patched up, it's going to create pressure to make another hole somewhere down the line. We're always looking for problem solving, and solving this problem leads into another problem. More negative energy, more negative vibes, more stuff that we should not be going down. Murphy's Law. I struggle with talking about Murphy's Law because I make sure that it's not a part of my daily life. As a matter of fact, when I was considering going into this topic today, I had to do quite a bit of extensive research on it because I didn't know a whole lot about Murphy's Law because I don't focus my life in that particular area. Unfortunately, a lot of you do, and it's something that has to be changed as soon as we possibly can, like right now. One of Murphy's famous laws states that left to themselves, things will always go from bad to worse. So not only are we in Murphy's Law that it's bad and it's fixing to get worse. We always wonder why we think the way we do instead of thinking in positive. It's called Murphy's Law. And unfortunately, a lot of people have trained themselves to think this way. Indirectly, of course, subconsciously, of course, but negativity always comes into play. We have a lot of people who practice Murphy's Law on a regular basis, and they don't even know they're doing it. We start doing it at a very young age. Whatever can go wrong will go wrong. Even going a little deeper. I mean, how did we come up with Murphy's Law? Murphy's Law for the last 75 years plus, or somewhere thereabouts, has been attributed to Captain Edward Murphy, who served at Edwards Air Force Base in 1949. And that's where the law of Murphy's Law comes from. A lot of extensive studies and etc. that went on there with Captain Edward Murphy, and I'm sure it had a whole lot to do with Air Force and things that were going wrong as they went on their journeys and so forth and so on. Murphy's Law probably has no basis in fact. The law of averages makes positive and negative outcomes equally likely. Law of averages always takes over, as we talk about many, many times on this show. So when you get to Murphy's Law and you start thinking about the bad things, going into it with a positive attitude to start with is probably going to have you more on the law of averages of positive than it is negative, meaning that more good things are going to happen to you than negative things. When we get into Murphy's Law and we start thinking in a negative direction, probably more negativity is going to come our way than what the positives will come in reality. So in reality, it's our perception of the world that makes Murphy's Law seem real, seem true, seem something that grabs our attention and continues to drag us down. Whether Murphy's Law is true or not, it doesn't matter, because it is a highly effective planning tool that we hang on to on a regular basis. Now, unfortunately, we seem to drift to the side of what can go wrong always does, bad going to worse, etc., the things that we just continue to talk about momentarily. On the other hand, why would we not be going in the other direction of whoever has the goal makes the rules? Okay, well, that is a positive. Of course, if you have the goal, it's a positive. But there again, Murphy's Law taken over in a negative aspect. There's probably only one person in the group that has the goal, so they make the rules. And then you have to follow along and abide by them. And if you don't, then probably there's some negative thoughts and vibes that will come along with that. Murphy's Law, whoever has the goal makes the rules. Usually the boss, the leader, etc. Of a certain company, a certain idea, on and on and on. Murphy's Law might apply in a few situations in your life, but you don't have to think about every situation in a negative way. Unfortunately, we do. The negative approach will affect your thoughts for sure towards any task or solution in a negative way. Let's see if we can start working on getting Murphy's Law out of our mind. We've covered several things there on Murphy's Law. I think the bottom line is, as you understand, it's a negative. It is a negative vibe. It's a negative thought. It's negative information, which leads to negative experiences. And that's something that we need to do away with in our life. So work on getting rid of Murphy's Law. And coming into our second law on this episode of Money, Motivation, and Mike, we're going to Wilson's Law. Wilson's Law states, when you put information and intelligence first, the money keeps flowing. So the information, the left side of our brain, the intelligence, the left side of our brain. When we go to that side of our brain and focus on the information and the things that we know to make positive decisions, good things will happen for us. Because when you have information, you can make positive decisions. You can make correct decisions. And sometimes that decision is to say no. So money keeps flowing through Wilson's Law, even when it's at a job. Positive thoughts continue to have you at that job and maybe progressing up the totem pole, if you will, up the ladder of life, up the ladder of a job. Wilson's Law, to increase our cash flow. It is known as Wilson's Law. It states that when a person can forecast their intelligence and information, they have a free flow of money. Now, what does that mean? Okay, I have a job. I know that if I show up and I put in an honest day's work and work hard, I'm going to get this amount of money per hour. I'm going to get this amount of money per year if I'm on a salary, etc., etc. So part of the increase of your cash flow is when I get into Wilson's Law, I know what I'm going to get for the effort I put in. Same thing with owning a business. I have 5 people doing one thing and they all do the thing. We get paid a certain amount of money for that. We know what our production is going to be. That is called keeping the cash flow coming. All right. Applied at times with Wilson's Law, think about this way in a formula. If A equals B and B equals C, then A is going to equal C because A and B and C are all the same. So If I go and I work 8 hours today times 5 days this week, so we could go 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, and 8 to 40 times whatever my hourly wage is, I know what I'm going to get at the end of the week. Now, unfortunately, sometimes that amount of money is not enough. Always that saying of there's too much month left at the end of the money. So for me to do that, then I have to increase. Now, Wilson's Law says that you can increase. Wilson's Law says that to increase the cash flow of money, then I have to improve myself. And some people found that experiencing free flow of money, they have easy problem-solving skills. It does not matter if it is difficult to understand their thinking ability, it's that they come with a positive mind. They know that if they change, their money and their cash flow will change as well. So you have to be thinking not on Murphy's Law, but more on Wilson's Law. We've taken a negative, we're trying to turn it into a positive. We know definites on Wilson's Law. Is Murphy's Law a hoax? Is it just something that's in our mind? Well, to be determined by you, obviously, for sure. But Wilson's Law states that I know what I'm going to get for doing X, Y, and Z. And in this particular case, the scenario I just said, A, B, and C. So if you're not happy at the end of the week with A, B, and C, then you have to increase your productivity. You have to increase your education. You have to increase the intelligence and the information, which is exactly what Wilson's Law is all about. So be thinking about those things when you're trying to decide here, when you're listening to this episode, am I going to be happy when I get to Friday afternoon? 80% of us, it says, will not be. So we have to make changes. Now, what is the role of money as a cause of slavery? When looking into the role of money that it plays in human life, it can keep a person bound or work as a slave. But as Wilson's Law, intelligence and information do not accept the strategy to run after money. A person will not be a slave to money because it allows exploring their talent, expertise, and the talent in a specific field that leads to productive growth at your job or in a company, maybe a company that you own. The law ensures that focusing on information, learning, and expertise forces money to flow. Instead of running after money, you are flowing, and the flow of cash continues to come in. People enjoy their work instead of focusing themselves to work for money. Do you like where you go every morning? If you don't, then you need to change. You don't go and get involved in something that is not necessarily what you want to be doing. That's chasing money. Then you become a slave to money. And I know so many people out there do not have maybe the day-to-day job that they would like to have. It's time to change that. Getting more information, more knowledge, more wisdom, the left side of your brain, and bringing that into Wilson's Law. Wilson's Law is nothing more than a mindset. It's that changes your lifestyle. How can we do this? The intention of earning money is to fulfill the requirements. The primary need in our lives is food and shelter. Based on our mindset, we earn money through our hard work. But the lack of thinking and the ability to perform solving problem issues, including information, if we can do these things, we have reduced the power of increasing our loss and decreasing our loss and increasing our money cash flow. People could try hard to remain satisfied with the money that they make at their job or their occupation. But if it's not enough to be required for what the daily, the monthly, the weekly needs are, then they're going to be limited, and their fear of loss is very, very high. You have to improve yourself. Wilson's Law points to the power of information and knowledge that develops our skills as improving, leading to us having better financial growth. The process is extensive without dependence on the condition or the demand of work. Excellence is the production of the success of growth in your body, in your mind, of information and intelligence. You have to work as a team. You have to pull together in the same direction, whether you're the leader or you're somewhere in the middle of the team. Those who work together will at the end of the day, maybe achieve a little bit more of Wilson's Law than what they are today. Once again, if you do not enjoy where you're at on a daily basis with your job or your occupation, the only person that can change that is you. And those who do not think that they can change never will. So just keep that in mind. Now, we have talked about, like I say, two positives, a positive and a negative. Murphy's Law, which always leads us down a negative path in most cases. And then Wilson's Law of trying to change our mindset and our lifestyle to become more and more productive and positive where we have daily cash flow opportunities. Once again, the kind of subjects that we bring you on Money, Motivation, and Mike, we always want to hear about your information and your thoughts and the things that you feel could help us improve our show, the things that you feel you would like to hear about on our episodes in the future. Always reach out to us once again at info@mx3.vip. Go to our website, mx3.vip, and then always go to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/@mx3podcasts. Don't forget to give us our likes, subscribes, and hit the icon bell so when content is released, you'll be notified. Please take a look at these subjects. Go do a little research. Find your Murphy's Law. Find your Wilson's Law. Let's focus on the Wilson's Law and come back with a brighter future tomorrow. So until next time, everyone who's been a part of Money, Motivation, and Mike, live your life the right way.